Hello friends, and welcome back to the Comfy Cave. Should I open all my streams with that? Should that become a catchphrase? I should, shouldn't it? That'd be kind of cool. I don't know, Hi! How are you guys doing? You guys having a good day? I hope that you are. I went to a convention, and I had a really good time. I've never really been to a furry convention, but that's not entirely true. I was at a small one several years ago, like a dozen years ago or so. So in other words, the title of this is entirely clickbait. I would like to formally apologize for that. It's fine, don't worry about it. So, I went to Midwest Furfest, which was in Chicago. It was a lot of fun. It was more than a little scary. And I plan on going again next time. And maybe even looking for another one to go to. So. Let us talk about what the experience was like. And this is a conversation. This is not just going to be, me. If you guys have any questions, and I'm sure you do, feel free to ask. If you have any questions either about the convention or about myself or my involvement, feel free to toss them out. And if you're watching this after the recording, then put them in chat and put them in the comment section, and I will respond to all of them. Because, well, it was kind of great. I got to Chicago late on Thursday evening / Friday morning, because time zones, and overslept a little bit before getting to the convention. I went with a friend who I will talk about later, and the first thing I did, of course, was I went to Reg, and this is the first thing I want to talk about, because this is a brilliant idea. What they had at registration was these... Pull up my... There we are. Were these little placards that you could put next to your name tag. You can see I have mine with the green. Green meaning, hey, come up and talk to me, hug me, like it's consent. This is just pure consent. You could flip over the green ones to get into a red on the back, which is, hey, don't talk, don't hug, unless I talk to you first. Let me feel comfortable and acclimate. And then the yellow being, if I know you, it's okay to come up to me. Otherwise, not right now. This is a brilliant idea. This is genuinely a phenomenal idea. Because consent is always a weird... Whoa, what? Buck! Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Buck. Thank you. Whoa. That's $100 super chat. I don't deserve that. Thank you. Oh wow. Wow. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. What was I talking about? I got sidetracked. Hi. Wow. Where was I? Badge killers. Yes, badge killers. So. The green and is feel free to approach me. Feel free to hug. Feel free. You didn't think you're getting out of the treatment that I've been giving Torians. I did. I thought I was safe at least until next week when I had my debut. I thought I was safe actually. Okay, sorry. Hi. The actual badge is this card. This little plastic card that is surprisingly durable and works very well. I liked having that as a badge as opposed to a larger, clunkier badge. And then you had some more stuff to help fill it out. For example, you can see in the right here, there was a schedule of the non-panel. Like, it didn't go into every single thing there, it just gave the general things. For example, when Artist Alley opens, when the art show opened, when the dealer's room opened, and all that fun stuff. So. I'll get into later why this was more important than I realized. Right out of the gate, you can understand that it's a good idea, right? They had them at the accessibility table, which you walk right by when you go into the registration, and anybody who wanted can grab them. You don't have to, but a good chunk of people did. Consent is strange at a convention because a convention puts you into a different headspace. It puts you into a different mindset where you're walking around with people who feel more comfortable to be around than when you are, well, on your normal daily trip to the, like, daily life, when you're out at the grocery or something. People at a convention feel better because you feel safe there at a convention. Now, again, this was basically my first furry convention, but I'm well tuned with conventions, both for business, like the Consumer Electronics Show, which is going to be coming up in January, but also in anime, where I was a instrumental part of the Anime Central convention, which is actually at the same venue as this for many, many years. So, right out of the gate, these badges are a great idea. Yeah. Because when everybody is comfortable with each other, it becomes very easy to accidentally overstep these boundaries. You know? If it's like, oh, I'm at the grocery store, I'm at a regular public place, you're not going to walk up to somebody and hug them. Right? That's just something that culturally you don't do in North America. We are taught from a very young age to be afraid of people. That's really what it is, to be blunt. We're taught from a young age to be a little bit afraid of people. And the whole strangers are dangerous as opposed to your community is full of people who you care about. And for a little while during these conventions, that boundary gets broken down and you are like, I'm around people who I care about. I'm around people like me. I'm around people who all share some baseline interest and I can be relatively certain are not axe murderers. Which is why conventions have a problem with, in some cases, sexual assault, SA, because it's easier to be manipulated into doing something against your normal mind state when you're at a convention. Which is why it's easier to accidentally violate someone's, not autonomy, but accidentally violate someone's intent by walking up and giving them a big warm hug, because that feels like a natural thing to do in that setting. So, I haven't even started talking about the convention proper other than these little placards, but these placards are brilliant, and I like the yellow one. It's not red and green. The yellow one is a masterstroke. I'll read it out to you in case you can't read it. Also, I know a lot of people put me on for background audio, so... A person wearing a yellow badge only wants to talk to people they recognize. Unless you've met this person face to face, please don't start a conversation with them. If they start talking to you, you are welcome to talk back with them. It makes sense. It just makes sense. It's a good idea. Person wearing a red badge does not want anyone to talk to them. They may approach others to talk, which is okay to respond. Unless you've been told otherwise, don't start interacting with them. If somebody's nervous or scared or anything like that, fantastic. And the green one, actually, I don't have a picture of what the green one says, but I have it right behind me. Person wearing this green badge is actively seeking interaction. They may have some trouble initiating conversations, but it's okay to come up and start a conversation with them. Now, these are obviously intended for people with social anxiety or autism or some other, person who needs it. But I think that a lot of people, including myself, picked these up because they wanted this. It wasn't that this was something that I needed to communicate with people, but it was something that I wanted to put on the table for people to approach me. My only complaint with the system is that the green is the flip side of the red, and the badge flips over very easily. So I actually had someone, talking to me. They looked down and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the red badge." And they took a step back as if they flinched. My complaint there is that it would be nice to have green, red, and yellow as 3 separate things, so that if it flips over, you don't lose the read on it, But that's a fairly minor detail for something that's phenomenal that they added at all. One of the first events I went to was the content creator meet and greet. And here's where I'm going to spill a little bit of tea right out of the gate. We're 10 minutes in and already I'm going to start a drama. No, it's not starting a drama. I'm not starting a drama. Maybe I'll start a drama later. Do I have a drama to start later? Let me think let me see if I have a drama to start later. So, the content creator meet and greet was organized by Whiskey Dingo. Somebody who I've heard of but have never met, talked to, or seen any of their content. But they're pretty well known and they have a decent following, a very large following compared to me. I mean, they're, one of the bigger content creators in the furry streaming industry at the very least. Unfortunately, the organizers seem to have a different understanding of the direction that the content creator meet and greet was going to go. The content creator meet and greet was not... it opened up with being wildly overpopulated, which really shouldn't surprise anybody, because one thing I've found about furries is that everybody is a little bit of a content creator. Whether they stream, or whether they do some artwork, or whether they, made their own costumes, or whether no matter what they did, almost everybody in the space, it seemed like, had a little bit of a creative spark to them, had a little bit of a creative streak, which I respect. I respect that like crazy. That was awesome. But it meant that this room that had a capacity of 250 people had over 300 people trying to get in, which was a problem. Now, this is something I think that should have been expected. They should have expected this in relation to the venue. Oh, so Jade's a furry now? I mean, I'll get to that later, but basically, yeah, I had such a good time, and everyone was so warm and welcoming, and I really did feel like I was a part of the community, so I guess I have to say that I'm a furry now. You're looking for your first FurryCon in January, so expected to see this experience? Oh, well, I will give a whole bunch of tips and tricks to people who are going, because and some things that I know from other conventions and some things that I wish I knew before going into this. So they mic'd up Whiskey Dingo. He pulled up some of his friends, Chester the Otter and one person who I don't remember or recognize. And he was like, this was supposed to be a networking event where people can meet each other and talk to each other. I didn't really want this to be like a panel. This is supposed to be a meet and greet. Not with me, but like with each other. So you should all just stand up and walk around and talk to each other, and don't worry about me. And like, I get that. That was the goal. That was why I went there. It's like, I wanted to get there to meet other people. I really want to meet more YouTubers around my size because, well, I am currently stuck in this world where when I meet somebody, either they have 100 followers and stream like once every 3 weeks, or they have 60,000 followers and I feel like I can't talk to them effectively because they're so much bigger than I am. And so I was really hoping to try to meet some other YouTubers or content creators or streamers or, Twitch streamers around my size. I didn't find that. And I definitely didn't find it here. I did actually find it later on, which I'll get to later. But this one here was opened up with this idea of like, is this supposed to be a networking event? I wanted everyone to come in here and talk to each other. But since I'm in the front and since there's so many people, I guess I can answer some questions. And the entire panel ended up being a Q&A with these three of the big content creators. And before opening up to general milling about halfway through, at which point it turned into a autograph signing for these three big content creators. Not finding 3 for 2 inch streamers is true. Also true. No matter how big I get, I will still be small. That's true. So. It was a fun time. It was a good event, but a lot of people were asking very basic questions, like, very good questions, like how do I avoid burnout? But the kind of questions that would be good for a actual Q&A panel, as opposed to a let's all get together and meet each other panel. I don't know. I consider it a bust because it was a failure at what it was trying to do. That doesn't mean I had a bad time. It means it was a bad event, and no shade on anybody there. They were all wonderful people. I actually met and talked with Chester the Otter for a little while after after it opened up, and they were basically stuck doing autographs, and with a ballpoint pen because they weren't expecting to do an autograph session, and it's like, that's rough. that's not. It's too bad. So I kind of scooted out of there and went to the dragon and scaled creature meet and greet, which I got in at the tail end of, and I had no idea what was going on. I didn't know anybody there, and I wasn't, like, in costume or anything at all because I don't have a fursuit. I'll get to... No, we'll be talking about the fursuit thing when I get to Saturday, because, oh boy, I have things to say. Something funny happened. Anyways. Yeah, so I tried to fill the room with a little bit of Kobold energy. I walked up to somebody who was just kind of looking out around the audience. Jade Fursuit Fund when? I think Buck just started one. I think Buck just started that fund. Sorry, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry. I should probably expand this when I'm doing just chat streams. There we go, that's better. Hi, how you doing? No scuff, ever. I tried to add a little bit of Kobold energy to the Dragon meetup. I saw somebody who was looking around nervously. They were looking around like they didn't know what was going on. I know that feeling. I know that feeling very well because that's how I was at my first couple of conventions. After being in the convention scene for so many years, I wanted to help break that ice for them. And this is my advice to anybody who's going to their first convention, is if you are afraid, don't be. You can trust that... Okay, I'm not going to say you can trust everybody at the convention. Obviously, that's not true. But you can trust that you have a baseline communication with everybody there. You can walk up to somebody and just start talking to them, and they're not going to think that you're strange or terrifying the way they would in public. And that's part of the thing that makes conventions good, is this feeling of community, is this feeling that there's a whole bunch of people here that I can just open my mouth and start talking to. And I saw somebody who was looking around like a deer in headlights, and I walked up to them and said, "You look like you're scared and confused." They looked over at me like, yeah, I guess I am. Oh, well, we should find somebody who looks like they're in charge. Who looks like they're in charge here? Who looks like they know what's going on?" And I was explicitly doing this to try to get them to respond. You know, I was begging this question of them to say, hey, pick somebody out. And then they picked somebody. I'm like, okay, let's go over and talk to them. And I just sort of like, grabbed their hand, looked at them, made sure that this was a okay thing to do with consent, and then walked over with them and just said, hey, you look like you know what's going on. What's going on? And just tried to, create this mood, create this, this little bit of Kobold energy, this little bit of chaos. And it was good. I got this person out of the shell. They actually started talking to people, and I think that they needed that. But obviously I can't be that for everybody, but hopefully I can be that for everybody who watches this video. So if you go to a convention, whether it's an anime convention or a furry convention or a sci-fi convention or a Renaissance fair, 90% of this I say is going to apply to Renaissance fairs as well. And you should go to Ren fairs, they're amazing. Is trust that people want to be there. Be willing to talk to people and trust that they are there to have a good time. Don't sweat what if should I not talk to them? Should I never talk to them? No, friend. Just walk up to them, somebody, and be like, hey, how's it going? If you're at an anime convention, hey, what are you watching this season? If you're at a furry convention, either, I like your outfit, or just, how's it going? Or, I don't know, what else, like, what are the icebreakers? But, like, it's anything, like, hey, what's up? How you doing today? What furry species are you? Or, if it's not in their badge. Just talk to people, because it's a situation where you are not going to feel guilt or regret or fear by talking to somebody, which apparently in some places in the world is normal, but I live in North America, and out here, conventions are one of the few spaces that's true. I know that's a depressing thing to say. I know how bad that sounds. I know how much you're going to, not believe me in that. Some of you are going to not believe me and say, no, there's no way that's true. It is. you can just talk to people. And I would very much encourage you to do that. Anyway, I got into the tail end of that meetup, the dragon meetup. I took a look at the schedule. Now, they apparently had stuff on Thursday evening. I wasn't staying at the hotel. I was staying off-site. And I just got in and kind of crashed. I was there after things happened. I don't know how late things go, actually, now that I think about it. I'll have to worry about that never. So, what did I do after that? Well, they had opening ceremonies that I missed. They had... They actually had an escape room, which I never did myself. They had VR gaming that set up, but I didn't do the VR gaming. Why not? Well, I don't know. It just didn't hit the mood. They had a video gaming room, and one of the wildest things that you'll see is people in full fursuits playing DDR. The amount of coordination... You have to be comfortable in your body to play DDR to begin with. But you have to be comfortable in a full fursuit to play DDR is wild. Not to mention the amount of dehydration that they must have going on. But they had a whole bunch of games there, some like Darkstalkers and other, furry adjacent games. They had Smash Ultimate set up. They had another fighting game set up whose name I forget. I think it was BlazBlue, maybe. No, I think it was one of the newer. It was probably Guilty Gear. It was one of those ones that had an anime aesthetic that I have never played. I'm not huge into fighting games, if that wasn't obvious. If that wasn't brutally obvious. So. I went, after the video gaming, and walking through tabletop RPGs. They had several sets up for tabletop RPGs. And in those sections, they had placards that you could put on the desks to say, I am looking for players. Lots of Magic the Gathering. Some people were playing Root. A handful of D&D games. Various stuff. I kind of wish that I brought my Spirit Island set. I actually own all of the physical content for Spirit Island, but I wouldn't have wanted to lug that around. That would have been a lot of luggage, if you get my understanding. Not that I'm being subtle. So, they had a fairly solid video gaming room and tabletop gaming room, and it was pleasant. I looked at the schedule. They had a STEM meetup. They had combat sports furs meetup for people who are into boxing, MMA, or martial arts and stuff. I didn't go to any of things I'm about to reference. They had a Pokemon Go meet and greet. They had the Dragon meet and greet. They had the content creator. They had a whole lot of meet and greets. All of them themed. That was one of the biggest recurring things at this convention. At an anime convention, it's anime, right? You have video rooms, you have video programming. At a sci-fi convention, you have autograph signings, and then you have meetups for people who are interested in certain shows. You'll have your Farscape meetup. You'll have your whatever. Your Star Trek meetup, your Star Wars meetup, your I don't know, Firefly meetup probably. And at these events, it was meeting. Buck, it was a meet up. So it was people who are interested in that thing, just having a place to go and talk. Yeah, a Doctor Who meetup if you're at a sci-fi convention, exactly. It wasn't actually watching it or doing it. It was simply, it's like, hey, here's a bunch of people with similar interests to me. Now the barrier for talking to people is even lower. You already have this lowered barrier of introduction that I talked about earlier. And now you have an even lower barrier because you have an immediate connection with people. If you are at a... let me pick one at random. If you are at a VR Chat IRL meet and greet, you can assume that everybody that you are in the room with is in VR Chat. And you can talk to them about that. If you are in the Hoof Furs meet and greet, then everybody else there is going to be some sort of equine or bovine or what have you, I don't know. You have a baseline communication with everybody in the room, in addition to the baseline communication with everybody at the convention. which made it very easy to meet and talk to people. And these things were happening around the clock. There were dozens of them. Some of them overlapped, like the content creator meetup was at the same time as the dragon meetup, which was, I believe, at the same time as something called the After Human meet and greet, which I have no idea what that means. Come hang out with fellow Therians and other kin? I don't know what those are, but I'm sure they're lovely. But they were overlapping, so if you fall into multiple of these categories, you had to pick. For me, I picked the content creator because, well, that's what I am first and foremost. And then when that sort of petered out and wasn't a networking event, I went to the dragon meet and greet. The other thing they have are actual organized panels. The organized panels are panels where, well, you have a person who's mic'd up in the front of the room talking to an audience. Now, at other conventions, like an anime convention, this would usually be a voice actor or voice actress or, you know, a set designer or someone who has clout in the field, right? At a sci-fi convention, this is separate from autograph sessions, mind you, but it would be, you know, Q&As with you know, the people who have been in productions. At something like this furry convention, some of it was that, and some of it was a lot more low-key. Like, the one that I went to was Who Wants to Be a Voice Actor? And it was a panel for, exactly as it sounds, people who are interested in voice acting, and it was hosted by the voice actor for Trunks in Dragon Ball Z. Abridged. You see what I mean? It wasn't actually, you know, like the voice actor from Dragon Ball Z. It was the voice actor from the production of Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which is awesome. And they're amazing voice actor. They actually are a full-on voice actor. But it was that more approachable, I guess. And I imagine this would be the same at smaller sci-fi conventions and smaller anime conventions as well, where you don't have big name stars. You have decent name stars. You have mid name stars. You know, you have the B tier stars who, well, deserve every bit as much love and affection as the A-listers. As somebody who has been a B tier star in the past, not so much now, although I'm working on getting it back up there, it would be, you know, it would be something like, you know, like that. And yes, I was actually a host on one of these panels, but I'll get to that because that happened on Saturday. We're still on Friday. I'm still talking. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to toss them out in chat. This is my experiences as I experienced them. Anyways, at the Who Wants to Be a Voice Actor, they talked about voice acting as a general thing for a while. They talked about what you need to get into it. They answered a whole bunch of questions about tech and setup, and I am incredibly overkill with my tech setup. I have way too good of a mic for what I need, but I know this. I intentionally bought my mic knowing that I won't need to buy another one ever. That's actually my intention behind this. Like, you can stream with a lot of different mics. You can stream with any mic. You can stream with, you know, with anything you want. I plan on doing more voice acting, so I have a phenomenal mic. But yeah, they were like, yeah, you only need an XYZ mic. And I get it. I agree with it, frankly. Anyways, then what they did is they opened up and said, hey, who wants to come up and read lines? We have a script from a video game that two people hosting the panel are actually in the production of. We actually have some lines here. We need 4 people to come up, and we're going to hand you these scripts to read it out, and then we'll give you some feedback. And sure enough, they gave a little quick description of each of the characters there. 4 people went up, read lines, and the person stepped back and said, okay, great. Now, and genuinely did give them some feedback, which was awesome. That was really what was impressing me, was they actually went in and got feedback from these actual voice actors, and then they got to read their lines again with the feedback, which was great. Then they brought another group of 4 people up for the same lines, which I think was an excellent idea, because then you got to see different people's take on the same characters. It's very easy to say, oh, I'm going to play this character the way this character is going to be played, but when you have 2 people who have different visions of the character, that becomes a much different experience. That becomes a much different... how to phrase. That just becomes a different understanding of the voice acting involved. Going in without these, without the foreknowledge, if you will. So, I was up there. This isn't the panel that I was saying I hosted, but I was actually up there. I got to voice Mordecai from Lackadaisy Cats. If you aren't familiar with that, I can actually pull that up here in a moment. Actually, probably let's do it this way. Cha-cha-cha. Yeah, I voiced this character from Lackadaisy Cats. Tone? Tone. Oh. Yeah. But they're different tone, different polish, different visions of the characters, I think would be a good how I would phrase it. It's different visions of what the character should be like. Because someone might take, you know, a character and just have a different understanding of how they think that character should sound. Like if you have... Mordecai is very proper and very frustrated when things are not done just a certain way. He definitely has some form of OCD, and if things aren't going exactly right, he gets frustrated. And one of the big jokes around that character is that, well, anytime something goes on, nothing's going to plan, because one of the other main characters in the series is their exact foil. They are constantly going off the wall and just doing whatever they want, and this is the perfect picture of them. Is that them? I don't know. It's this guy here. Anyways, I actually followed this comic. It's an old comic. I think it started back in the early 2000s, I want to say. I could be wrong. I followed it for a few years. I haven't followed it in the most recent few years, but they did a very good job of giving genuine feedback that was helpful to people. Okay, so... Then I went to the dealer's room, which I'm sure you were all incredibly excited to know what I bought there. I assume that you are. I did not buy this, but I took a picture of it because it was pretty. The thing with the furry dealer's room is that there was an incredible amount of artwork, and it was all beautiful. There was so much good art. There was a weird... the opposite of a dichotomy. There was a weird blending between the dealer's room and the artist's alley. Now, at an anime con, dealer's room is where you buy things that are official merch, and artist's alley is where you buy things that people made, fan creations. Same thing at a sci-fi con, same thing at most places. And Ren fairs usually don't have a distinction. It's usually just, there is no difference. In this, there was still no difference. There was no real difference between the dealer's room and the artist's alley, because all of it, the only difference was scale. The dealer's room people probably had bigger businesses, but at the end of the day, they were doing the same thing as the artist's alley people. They were showing off their creations that they made and selling their products. Artist's alley is more likely... Did I bump a thing? I think I bumped a thing. I don't know. Anyways, Artist's Alley is a little bit smaller in scale than the other areas. One thing I saw that was very nice was this. This is the same idea of what was given away at the entrance, except these were actually put together a bit better. These are solid plastic and laser cut and embossed, like the actual part that's painted on here is raised up. They were good quality, frankly. And I love these. I love that these exist. They were relatively cheap, and these are all phenomenal things. All things that somebody might want to know before communicating with someone else. No hugs. Oh, where's my arrow needs to be on top. 1 second. Where's my arrow? There it is. There we are. But yeah, no hugs? Okay, you know what? They're valid. Might be that you want to talk to people, but you don't want to have the physical touch. No hugs, no physical touch. These are great notice markers for somebody who is otherwise outgoing. If you are outgoing and want to be like, hey, 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 look at me, how you doing, how you doing? But you don't want someone to hug you unprompted, then that's a phenomenal thing to have. That is a great thing to have offered to people. In all of my years at anime conventions, I have never seen this. And let me tell you, especially in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, there was a big issue with consent at anime conventions. If you were in the scenes at that time, you know this. There was always the idea of glomps, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to run up and hug you. People who took that too far and tackled people. People who didn't take it far enough and would gain social anxiety because they were too afraid that somebody else might run up and hug them. There were people who were at all places available who could have wanted these. Yeah, I mean, you can order these too. I don't have... Wait, no, I do have. Hold on a sec. One tick. Tara? These were made by... I'm not tracking right now, I'm sorry. Papaya Badger was the name. Papaya Badger makes these, and they are available. And honestly, if these would be benefit to you for... let me type that in chat. If these would be of benefit to you for going to a convention, do pick them up. Whether it's an anime convention or any other type. But like, hey, low visibility. Now, I think this is meant for fursuiters, as in, I can't see because I have a mask on, which is very good to have, you know. And usually, in my experience, you have a handler. In my experience, you have a handler, because my experience with mascot suiting, which is very light, by the way, is for like sporting events, or for like what's the word? Fairs. I say fairs, I mean like Disney style mascots. I never worked for Disney. I never worked for the mouse, but Disney style mascots, which have low visibility, and you always have a staffer around. Hello, Cardox. You have an amazing dragon costume, but never been able to go to a convention. No conventions in your entire country. Oh wow. Well, if there's a community in your country, maybe you should get together and start one. You might find more people interested than you expect. Seriously, I have started conventions, and I've found that to be true. If you make it, they will come. So, when you're professionally suiting, you have on a mascot suiting, you have a handler. You have a staffer who is always right behind you, who is always just out of sight and maybe part of the crowd, but also in front of the crowd. And they are watching your back. That's not true at a furry convention, right? A lot of these people are fursuiting because they want to fursuit. They don't have a dedicated person to help pay for them, to help, that is on the company's payroll to help you out. Low visibility, good. Make people aware of that. Also, if you're visually impaired, maybe you don't even have a costume on. Maybe you just are low visibility. This might help anyways. If you bump into somebody from the side, or if somebody comes up and and touches you from the side, you might not know they're coming. Likewise with hearing impaired. Likewise with full-on deaf. I mean, ASL must be very hard to do when you have a costume gloves on. Oh, you went to a general nerd convention with your dragon costume? That sounds like a lot of fun. Not right now. I'm on break. Valid. Sometimes you don't want to turn it on, Now, in actual mascot suiting, usually when you don't turn it on, you all know my background, I assume, but maybe you don't. I was a physical actor for most of my life. I was stuntman. I was, mostly stage combat work. Stuntman, stage combat work, and things like that. And part of my training for these physical acting roles included mask training, where you need to show personality through a blank mask. And I'll talk about that when I talk about the fursuiting, which is going to be in a little while yet. But sometimes you can't keep it on. Sometimes you have to turn it off and just relax and be like, I can't be on stage right now. I need a 5-minute break. And having a badge that you can pull out because there's no backstage when you're not, a staffer here is a phenomenal idea. Please ask before hugs. Perfectly reasonable level of consent. Ask for picture. A perfectly reasonable level of consent. Please be patient with me. A common autism signifier, something that I've seen people with these in stores. Shirts with pins or hats that say "Please be patient with me." Usually, that's a signifier for somebody who has autism and is less high functioning than they would than other people expect them to be. Is how I'm going to choose to phrase that. And then on the flip side, you have "Please hug me." This enthusiastic consent, like no, don't worry about it. I want a hug. Please approach me. Yes, hugs. And good. Again, that is a consent. And then here, hug gently. This is a different type of consent. Now, this one I found interesting. Roleplay okay. I don't know. I assume this is for people who want to be in a character's headspace. Sort of like method acting, but not exactly. This is for somebody who wants to be in their character's headspace and role-playing in general throughout the convention. And somebody who's like comes up and says, "Hey, I love your costume." They might want to be in the mindset of, "This isn't a costume, this is just me." I can see that. I could see that happening. You have DNI, do not interact, social anxiety, and there are people who do silent suiting, which is just, you just don't open your mouth. As somebody who has dealt with vocal dysphoria, I get that too. If you don't feel comfortable with your voice, you might want to say, hey, I will emote, I will move, I will act, I will present, and I will communicate. But I don't want to open my mouth, because for me, that would destroy my own illusion. As somebody who struggled with vocal dysphoria, I think that is a fantastic one. I've gotten over it, and I'm actually very proud of my voice now. But not everybody's there, and not everybody needs to be there, right? Not everyone has their own journey to work on. And I get that. So this is fantastic. And the reason I've spent a half hour talking about it, the reason that I've spent a half hour talking about that, hello, Kamino, voice dysphoria gang, yeah. It took a long time for me to be comfortable with my voice, and I still don't have the feminized voice that I want, but I'm proud of the voice that I have. And I could have had so many more acting roles if I was more confident with my voice sooner in my life, but you know what? I wasn't, and my journey took time. The reason I'm so flummoxed on this, the reason I am so shocked by this and in awe of this is simple. It's because I've never seen these before, and I cannot believe that I haven't. In 20 years of working of staffing for conventions, in about that many years, in a little bit longer, in attending other conventions, I have never noticed these, or I've really seen these, but certainly never had them prominently shown as a thing that was expected and acceptable. Not expected, you didn't have to have these. Most people didn't. A lot of people didn't, at least. But this should be common. I want this to be common. I want this to be a normal thing that happens at conventions. I really, really do. Okay, I think we can move on from that, though. I got this mask, and you can also see a little bit thing that I got that I'll show off later. Masks were required for everybody. Yo, Spectre, welcome! There's somebody who I saw at the convention who I didn't actually get to see, but I saw. There were a couple people who I saw but didn't actually get a chance to talk to. Spectre and Sherbert were the two people who I've met before and talked to before, but that I saw but couldn't wave at. I should have stopped you, and you're right, I should have. I said hello a couple times, and I tried to wave when I thought I was in your line of sight, and obviously no one would recognize me, but I was on Friday, and I didn't quite yet feel comfortable enough to be talking with people. I wasn't yet at this point that I am trying to encourage other people to get to. I was still at the point where it's like, well, talking to people is kind of scary. There's a lot of people around, and this isn't exactly my community. I'm more the anime community. So I don't know if I was nervous. And I didn't need to. Am I going to any other FurCons? Honestly, I had such a good time that I probably will. I don't know which ones, but I'll keep it posted on events, and I'll do this sort of coverage for each one that I go to. Anyways, this was a red panda mask. I was impressed. Everybody wore masks. Okay, I did go to Ferality, that's true. Ferality was a delight. And I also have a couple of streams about that, but that was a much different situation. Go to Anthrocon? Mayhap. Everybody was wearing masks and everybody was comfortable with it. Well, except for one person. But there was no real complaints. Everybody was masked up, and we're in a time right now where a lot of people in their day-to-day lives seem to have forgotten about the plague. A lot of people right now, at least around where I live, people aren't wearing masks anymore. By and large. Now, I like wearing a mask because facial dysphoria, but whatever at this point right now, the worst has passed, and I'm not going to shame people for not wearing masks. However, everybody at con to get a badge had to have proof of vaccination and wear a mask at all times in all convention spaces. And people didn't complain about this. This was a thing that people did and that people were okay with. That's great. That's great. That's just great. That's genuinely just fantastic. And they had a bunch of people were selling masks. A lot of them were very, very, how to phrase. There were a lot of people were wearing. I'm trying to think of another way to phrase this, and there really isn't any. A lot of people were selling very dummy masks. Like masks that with bright shiny teeth that open angry expressions and like, you know, super aggressive. Like there were a lot of top masks there. It's like, no. But I found a little red panda one, which I liked. It was cute and it made me happy. Anyways, yeah, that was the mask situation, which I was impressed with. I expected more pushback. There was one person at the entire event who went into, and keep in mind, this is in America. This is in the States. This is in Chicago, right? This is like the center of America, which is the part that, you know, usually you don't think of as being as cool. And if you understand what I mean by that. And everyone was cool with it except for one person who was trying to get into the video gaming area, who was turned back because they didn't have a mask, who stomped away and yelled about how everybody at the convention was a bunch of liberals. And it's like, whatever, dude. And you know what happened? Everybody told him to go home. Everybody yelled at this person and just, go home, get out of here, you're not wanted. That's how much camaraderie there was with these people. It's like, no, we're masked here. This is just what we're doing today. Get on board or get bent. And I respect that, you know? I don't know what your political affiliations are, nor do I care. But that was the rules of the convention, and by and large, people respected them. And that, well, that's a good thing. Next up, that one dude was the only person, and that was the only person who wasn't wearing a mask, too. Everybody else was wearing a mask at all times. Now, that said, yo, Shade Zed, welcome. Welcome. And yes, Spectre the Wolf is actually something exactly what I wanted to bring up next. You say the only time you didn't wear a mask was on the con floor when you had your head on. And they actually had a sign that said you were supposed to wear a mask even if you had a fursuit head on, and that sounds ridiculous to me. That sounds absolutely ridiculous to me because the fursuit head is a mask. Now, I assume that was in place simply for the people who have fursuit heads that have open mouths, where you can actually, eat. I saw a couple of those. And I can understand why they have that as a general rule, but by and large, if you have a head on, then nobody is going to care or notice for that matter. And when I wore my fursuit head, I didn't have it on either. Again, COVID is airborne, is droplet based, not truly airborne. The masks count. The fursuit heads count as face shields. Face shields are as effective at preventing things as surgical masks. It's not an N95, but it is highly effective all the same. And fursuit heads are also extremely hot, something that I learned firsthand, and I will talk about when I get into Saturday, which is not that far off. I'm just going to finish some more Dealer's Room stuff, but the thing I'm talking about the Dealer's Room stuff is more about, like... I'm using what I found in the Dealer's Room to spark my thoughts about explaining the other things that I saw there. You understand, you guys get it. I got these things, they're adorable. Look at those. Look at these good beans. So, you know what? This is going to be my comment prompt for today. After the video is over, go into the comment section and tell me your favorite dinosaur. And then I want you to tell me how long it's been since somebody has asked you your favorite dinosaur, because I want to know your favorite dinosaur. And I want to know how long it's been. How long since somebody actually asked you, because you should ask, right? Anyways, mine's an ankylosaur. I love an ankylosaur, and actually seeing an ankylosaur merch, hype, incredibly hype. I loved it. I bought it instantly. I bought this for a friend who that's their favorite dinosaur. And then look at this lad. Look at this lad. They just seem like they're a good lad. I like them. They seem very polite. And then, as was called out in chat, large snake, Suichinoko. I like fat snake. It is my favorite cryptid, hands down. It is just adorable. It is. Hold on a second. Suichinoko is a fat snake. It's a fat, highly venomous snake in Japanese folklore. And yeah, it's adorable. I love it. It's most likely somebody who saw a skink and then thought it was a fat snake, or somebody who saw a snake that had eaten and then wrote some legends about it. Kind of like how the fur trout is a legend, is a legendary mythic creature that's actually is just, a trout that has some bacterial infection that gives it some fur on its side. It's a real thing. Or, what's the other one? Not Wolpertinger, but the jackalope. Jackalopes are real. That actually is... Oh, you haven't heard about the fur-bearing trout? Yeah, Sapphire. Fur-bearing trout is a cryptid. Also, everyone should like the video. I just remembered that I haven't done a like call-out recently. Oh, I'm covering up my subscribe button. Whatever. Fur-bearing trout is a cryptid. It's actually just a fungal infection that has gives it like a cotton downy out exterior. What's another one? Yeah, a jackalope. The rabbit that has antlers is real. It actually is just a rare genetic mutation that that rabbits can get that genuinely do give them antlers, and it's incredibly painful to them because it literally is a type of bone cancer growth, a cancerous bone growth on their foreheads. And yeah, I think that Suichinoko is very similar. Like, this is probably something that someone just saw and rolled with it, But I love it. Would you call the platypus a cryptid or something else? No, because platypus was discovered as real before it went into legend. The other things, the jackalope, the fur-bearing trout, and are things that were in legend, and people said, "Oh, that doesn't exist." But Bigfoot doesn't exist. Jackalopes don't exist. That later on people found out was, oh, that's real. Likewise with giant squid. Giant squid were actually considered cryptids for a long time because there was tales and stories and legends, but nobody actually had seen one until they did, and it was like, oh, okay, I guess this is just an actual thing. I guess krakens exist. Wow, I'm not going back in the ocean. Okay, anyways, this fell apart. This piece right here actually fell apart while I was in the registration area waiting for my friend on Saturday, and I'm so glad that it did on a concrete floor, because I would have never found it otherwise. But I love it. I think it's adorable, and I'm very happy I got it. Next up, I have some of the other merch that I found, which... let me just put that off screen there. Perfect. There was somebody who just made a little bit of artwork, just a quick sketch, and it was only $5. It was literally just, hey, for $5, I'll draw a sketch for you. And I'm like, and you can pick it up tomorrow. I'm like, yeah? Heck yeah, that sounds awesome. A little $5 sketch. So yeah, I dropped them $5 US, and I pulled up my reference sheet on my phone. They took a picture of it and like, here, pick it up tomorrow. I love it. It's so good. They even took some tape and did a little pseudo lamination where they covered the front and back with some packing tape. So it's a little bit So it's a little bit sturdier than if it was just a piece of paper. I would have been happy if it was just a piece of paper, you know? Oh, yeah. I would absolutely agree that platypus are weird enough to be a cryptid, but yeah, a cryptid requires it to be have the legendary aspect to it, for me at least. And also you can see here, I made business cards. I ordered them on Thursday for pickup on Friday, and they sent them to the wrong store, so I couldn't pick them up on Friday, but I got them on Saturday. I left up a whole bunch of them. Shout outs if you saw one of them at con, or if you came here because of one. But yeah, I littered a little bit with them, leaving them in places where other people had left stickers or business cards or what have you. I thought it would be a good idea, and I think it ended up being a good idea because I did meet some very wonderful people there. I met some fantastic people who I hope become good friends. Some of which I believe are in chat right now. But that's common at cons, yes. It's common at cons, but it's common at certain conventions. You know what I'm saying? It's common at conventions where there's a bunch of content creators. It's less common at conventions where there's just a bunch of fans. And this very much falls in that first category. People come to the convention because they are a part of the community as a content creator, not just because they like to watch the same TV show. If you go to a Star Trek convention, it's probably less common. If you go to a furry convention, it's probably more common. And again, Renaissance fairs and anime cons are both going to be somewhere in between, though more on the less common at the anime cons. I also got this as a cute dragon. I liked it. It's just a metal bookmark. I thought it was adorable. And the person who was selling it had somebody else come up to them, and they had the audacity to mention why they didn't like their artwork. Don't do that, friends. Don't do that. That's not a cool thing to do. They straight up went up and said, I wish you had more, didn't have the Eastern Dragon. Like, this is a great picture here, but it having the long, slender body is, kind of ruins it. And I genuinely got up in their face and was like, well, the more better to say, it ruins it for you. It doesn't ruin the picture. It's still a phenomenal picture, but it's more that you don't like that, isn't it? And he just kind of conceded it real quick. He's like, oh, well, yeah, of course, that's what I meant. But they still had that little bit level of pretentiousness. As an artist, you'd kind of need to tell him to fluff off. Yeah, it's completely reasonable. The dealer was just kind of like, oh, okay, kind of attitude, like, oh, okay. But yeah, I stood up for them. No, because their art is phenomenal. And yeah, this isn't a Eastern dragon. This is an American dragon. When I see that dragon here, I think of it as a quaddle. The winged snake style serpent from Central America. But yeah. You will have people there who have less social graces. Not everybody is cool. By and large, there are more cool people than there are not cool people. But doesn't mean that you can just walk in and doesn't mean that everybody's awesome all the time, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't mean that everybody is constantly a good person. It's still easier to talk to people. It's still easier to work with people, and the number of people who were jerks at this convention compared to others I've been to was much lower. I just highlight this to say that there are people there who might not be on the same level of cool as yourself. It's just something to be conscious of. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not going to get into it, but yes, you saw the other things here. Don't worry about those. I just thought they were funny. Okay, that's all. That's it. I just thought they were funny. Okay, don't worry about it. And now here's a full picture of the art here. Yeah, just a little $5 sketch, and I am overwhelmingly happy with it. It's adorable. I feel like they really caught my personality too in just like the 5 minutes that I talked to them. Jade, when are you gonna let me draw you? Anytime you want. My reference is pinned in my Discord server. Yeah. I love all the art that I've ever gotten. I keep every single piece of art that I've ever gotten, and I adore all of it. random stranger to some first they met. Hi there, your art sucks. Gosh, I can't imagine somebody doing that. I really can't. We're not in a server, we're in a mutual server? Ah, well, I mean, okay. Well, if you want a screenshot, I can certainly post it here. I think I've posted it on YouTube before, but it's been a hot minute. One tick here. It's in Stream Tools. If anybody wants to grab a screen grab of it, if you're not in any of my regular social sites, then hi, this is me. My new model is going to be out on the 19th. I'm going to have a new model debut on December 19th. And this is... yeah, and this is the reference sheet for the new model. And I love it. It looks phenomenal. And that's the reference sheet I showed off for this person as well. It's so good. Also, yeah, there's a link to my Discord server in the description box for anybody who wants to join it. It's a very comfy place. It's not like a place that's just about VTubers or just about my channel. It's just a comfy place to share cat pictures. Anyways. One of the most beautiful things I saw, and you can already tell, I ended up spending money. I ended up spending a little bit more money than I anticipated. But look at this. Look at this fox blanket. And tell me this isn't just the most beautiful thing you've seen. Isn't that stunning? It's soft, too. It's the softest fleece that you've ever did feel. Not fleece like the kind you get in the store. This is actually, like, I don't even know how they got it so soft. It's the softest thing in the world. The only thing you notice is that Jade is getting pants. True! It's true. I do have pants now. I'd like to apologize to her for having pants. Anyways, I bought this blanket. I'm going to hang it as a tapestry. I don't even want to just, like, you know, it's so nice that I would almost feel bad about cuddling up with it and just letting it get dirty. I will absolutely do that because it's so soft, but I'm also generally just going to hang it on my wall as a tapestry. Because it's amazing and I love it. It's just, look at them, it's so cute. That cost me itself $80 US. And I don't regret it at all. Okay, so is there anything else to cover on Friday? Because Saturday is where the real meat and potatoes of this gets. That Saturday is where the real crazy stuff that I got into happened. Let me just quickly skim. I also have the Midwest Furfest schedule pulled up, just so I can flag my memory brain thinks on anything that I missed. They did have a bunch of 18 plus stuff that I did not go to because, But for people who are interested in that, there was a bunch of that. They had of every single type. There were panels, and there were also 18 plus panels. There were meetups, but there were also 18 plus meetups. And there were, I believe 18 plus presentations as well. I don't know. But if you're into that, that is a thing that existed. So, now we go on to the Saturday. One tick. Saturday, I met up with Bite. I don't know if anybody knows them. Bite the raccoon, B-I-G-H-T. This is them. I took this picture. I included the trash can. I made sure that I included the trash can in the picture because hashtag raccoon lifestyle. I mean, it sounds right. That makes sense, right? You get it. I don't even know what I would do at an 18 plus panel. Like, here is Booba. Appreciate Booba. Nice. I don't either, but you know what? I'm sure people had a great time. Did they bite me? Yeah, I'm not answering that one. Anyways. Bite is very cute. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. They are a good bean who I've known for a long time, and their outfit is not a full fursuit. Their outfit is a Renaissance outfit, that with a with a head and paws. And I want to talk about different types of fursuiting that I found. Now, his fursuit is head, paws, and Renaissance outfit. Other people's fursuits were head, paws, and casual outfit, like t-shirt, with their skins showing in between the paws and the shirt. Other people's outfits had no skin showing, like this one here, but were still wearing just casual clothes. Then you had people who were wearing full body fursuits, and then you had people who were wearing, well, full body fursuits that also had clothing worn on top of the fursuit. Lots of different types, which I thought was really interesting to see. But what was also interesting is seeing people move. Partial, yeah, I heard that term there. I heard that term while I was there. Wearing a partial fursuit while still showing skin is called poodling, like a shaved poodle, where you have, the fur on the hands, but then you have your arms. But what I want to focus on is the movement. People who were wearing different I want to say tiers. I don't know if that's the right... It's definitely not the right term. But how much of a fursuit are you wearing? Going from poodling to partial, which I believe... correct me if I'm wrong in any terminology. But partial fursuiting, I believe, is wearing heads, hands, possibly feet, while wearing regular clothes, but not showing skin. Like what we have here with Bite. That's what he was doing. That's what he's got on... And no, actually, no, I'm going to take it back. No. Partial fursuiting was with casual clothes. I don't know what this is called, where you are wearing a character's outfit, where you are wearing a character's design, but also, and not just casual clothes with it. This feels like it's a different tier than being up on a partial, because this is the character, right? You are wearing the character's outfit. It's not just like I'm wearing my hoodie and my and a head. Oh, maybe your character wears the hoodie. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. A full partial is all that, but you have legs and arms. Okay, so it's a full partial when you have costume style pieces as opposed to just casual pieces? Is that how it works? That makes sense. That makes sense. It does. So, and then you had people wearing full body fursuits. Then again you had the extra, on top of it we have full body fursuit with enough of a flourish that they were wearing clothing on top of the fursuit. Now, like I talked about before, and I will continue to go. Hello, Runic Raptor. That was supposed to still be a partial. It's a partial with an outfit that goes with it. Okay, cool. Cool. Got it. Now again, I am a movement actor. So I watch people move. It's what I do. And what I found fascinating is that the more of a fursuit that people were wearing, the more that they clearly felt comfortable in that body, in that suit. In what I mean by that is you move differently when you are a cartoon character. If you are a mascot at a football game, you are not walking around the same way as if you were a cheerleader, right? You are not walking around the same way as if you were a regular person, there. You are making exaggerated movements. You are projecting all of your emotions through your hands and raising them up and making all of your movements larger because you are portraying that type of character. That's normal. That's common. That's something that anybody who's done movement for actors will naturally begin to get better at. And I found it really interesting how many people were doing that. Now, most people are not actors, and I know this because they're furries. Everybody works STEM, right? That's just how it works. Everybody who's a furry works in a STEM field or is an artist. Like that's as far as I know, that's true. Sorry. Look, I like that joke. That's a funny joke. I don't care if you get... Anyways. I made that joke for me, okay? Or lots of military? Oh, interesting. Huh. Did not know that at all. Anyways. I think that people who are more into it, quote unquote, whether it's people who are really deep in the fandom or really into their costume or people who've just done it for longer, they felt more comfortable. Jade part of STEM didn't think they were a plant. Aw, I don't. Yeah, I worked in games and the gaming industry, but anyways, aside from that, watching the people who were poodling mostly walked around like regular people. They walked around like they they weren't a character. They walked around like they were not wearing a fursuit. The people in partials, this is part of why my brain separated the partials with a costume and the partials without. The partials, people who were wearing partial fursuits, but didn't have on any sort of costume pieces. That is to say, like there was just like a hoodie, or it was just like jeans, or it was just regular casual clothes. Moved like they were regular people. They just walked around and they looked out of place. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. We're going to go back into talking about verisimilitude. Verisimilitude is the presentation as if reality. Something that we've talked about on the channel a lot when talking about game design. Well, verisimilitude is handled differently for characters in a fantasy setting. You know, it's keeping the consistency of the character. Somebody who is walking around as a normal person is fine. They're normal. Somebody who's walking around in a fursuit making big exaggerated motions and bouncing around and, you know, opening their arms to talk is normal because they look like a cartoon character and they're acting like a cartoon character. That looks right. That looks fitting. That looks suitable for the character, for the individual, for what you're looking at. It meets that verisimilitude. You look at it and you say, yes, this makes sense. This person is a cartoon character in real life, and that's how they're acting. And the people who in the partial fursuits who didn't have without costumes fit more into the first category of people who were just walking around with a mask on, as opposed to people like Bite and the full fursuiters who were walking around comfortable and in their presentation as character. And I found that fascinating. I really did. I don't know if anyone else finds that fascinating, but I did. I thought it was neat. Anyways, this is Bite. They are a very good bean. So I met up with them at registration. We walked around. I didn't actually get into the art show because of a very interesting choice. Now, at the art show, it looked like everything in there was framed and zip-tied to some sort of walls. It's disassociation, no need to fill in inhibitions when nobody knows who you are. That makes sense. That makes sense. I want to go more into that when I talk about my own experiences in a fursuit, but I think that is a part of it. I don't know if disassociation... Well, maybe. Yeah. I tend to do a lot of exaggeration when you're in your suit with your Baja hoodie, which is basically your costume. That's fair, because in that case it is your costume, right? That is still a costume, which is... In that case, a partial fursuit wearing a hoodie isn't just you in a hoodie, it's you as your character in a costume in a hoodie. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I get that. That makes sense to me. You have partial torso to show scaly chest. Okay, cool. You left the legs for a costume, so you wear high heels instead. That's fair. That's reasonable. You had knitted scale gloves. I saw a couple people with scale gloves, and they were very, very pretty. The gloves, I mean. Well, you know what? The people were pretty too. You know what? I'll double down on that. Yeah, no, the people wearing scale gloves were pretty. I'm just going to say that, yeah. So. When we walked by the art show, it looked like everything was secured. Now, this was, I believe, a blind ballot auction. I believe the art show was also functioning as an auction. But they didn't let you in there with any bags. You could go into the artist alley with bags. You could go into the dealer's room with bags. But you couldn't go into the art show with even a purse. Now, That's a problem. They had a bag check nearby, but the bag check had a very long line, and the art show had a very long line, so it was kind of like, maybe we'll come back. Because, well, even with I was wearing a purse and it was very small, but they didn't let me in with it. And Bite, who has on just this little carry-all, just this little book, it's a book with a strap on it, they didn't let him in there either. They said, nope, you gotta go check that over at bag check. It's like, okay. So I actually never made it to the art show. I kind of wanted to, but at the same time, it was going to be a bit too much trouble to get through. I would have liked for them to have better secure inside and allowed people in with small bags. Just, like, not like a backpack. Sure, that's fair to cancel out, but let people walk in there with, a small purse or just casual stuff. I didn't have pockets. You crazy? I don't have pockets. Why would I have pockets? I wish I had pockets. I mean, and honestly, that's the thing is, you couldn't even bring your fanny pack. Yeah, like nothing in there would have been able to be hidden in a fanny pack anyways, at least from what I saw at the entrance, looking in. It didn't make a bloody lick of sense. But that was their policy, and, well, that was their policy, and that was all there is to it, right? I would have liked for that not to be the case. Drinky, the Kobold hydrates. I do drink. It is good to drink. So I didn't actually see the art show. And if I could change, one recommendation I would say is make it a little bit more accessible. Because the purse I was wearing is smaller than the average person's pockets. Like, they were small. It's nothing. Anyways, regardless. They made a policy, they stuck to it, and they didn't make any exceptions, which I respect. And as somebody who's run conventions, I understand where they're coming from. It was just a little bit frustrating for the con goer. You know what I'm saying? So, walked again through the Artist Alley, picked up the art piece that I had done, and I think one of the bigger differences between Artist Alley and Dealer's Den is that the Artist Alley was more commission friendly. There wasn't anything small until you got to the 18 plus. Oh. Is that the Artist Alley, you could go up to somebody and say, hey, could you do this? Whereas Dealer's Den was more, hey, this is what I have for sale. Some people in the Dealer's Den offered commissions, some people in the Artist Alley didn't. But there was so little distinction between those two things. Some people were, I don't know. Anyways, moving along. They had various panels here that we did not attend to. They had tabletop RPG games. One thing I saw that was interesting is that Sanguine Studios actually had a room in the dealer's room. Now, I went there on Friday and I didn't see them. They had their booth all covered up as if there was no one there. Well, I mean, as if like they had gone out to lunch. But I went back later and they were still covered up. And then I went on Saturday and it was still covered up. So I don't know if Sanguine Studios actually showed up or if they just had a booth that had some books on it that were covered in a piece of paper or covered in a tablecloth, and they just left it that way the whole time, as far as I know. But Sanguine Studios, if you don't know, is the company who made Ironclaw. Ironclaw is a tabletop RPG that is heavily based off of furry design. And I have played Ironclaw before, the game, and it's a very lethal system. It wasn't really my jam because of it's the kind of system where if you get hit once, your character might die in that same combat encounter. But that said, it was interesting to see them around because I hadn't played a game of Ironclaw since like 2005. I didn't know that studio was still around. I've never seen that at any of the tabletop gaming conventions that I was at. And I go to a decent amount of tabletop gaming conventions as well because I did some tabletop industry stuff, which some of you may know from previous streams. So yeah, apparently Sanguine Studios is still around. So that's cool. I mean, that's about all I have to say about that, is that apparently they still exist. Where was I? Yes. But yeah, all these meetups kept on happening. Agrifur's meet and greet. Are you a furry farmer? A goat with a garden? An alligator with an aspiary? This panel's for you. And just go there and meet people who have gardens, who like gardening. Aviation and drone furs. people who have dragons that are also planes or helicopters, because that's a thing that exists. Paleo furs, fossils and fossil defendants. That was like a common theme throughout the entire convention, is that there were always these panels for people to meet up and just vibe. I think vibes is like one of the core things of the entire convention. It was a convention that you go and just sort of vibe at, you know? You just go there and relax. And meet people, which again goes back to the consent badges. I'm glad they were there. So. They also had a quiet room. I was actually extremely thankful for this. I am not usually overwhelmed with social anxiety, but every once in a while, because of how social people were and how much talking to people there were, I did feel like, okay, I kind of want to step away from everything for a few minutes. Not because I needed it, but because it would make me more comfortable. And honestly, point of advice, chase your comfort. Even if you don't need it, do things that make you comfortable. This is just life advice now. Even if you don't need something, if something will help you feel more comfortable, just do it. So they had a quiet room. And it was another thing that was not targeting people with autism, but well laid out for that. They had a room with a white noise generator that was just a little bit further away from the main venues of the convention that was actually quiet. You went in there and there were a bunch of people sitting at tables just either on their phones or having their eyes closed or just sitting. They had some beanbag chairs. And then they had stim toys. They had stimulation toys. Play-Doh, fidget cubes, fidget spinners. They had... I think they had Legos as well. Like just little things for you to fidget and play with to help you relax. And I actually made use of this a couple times, where I just went in, sat down, and just took a few deep breaths and relaxed for a few moments before standing up and going back out. I was really pleased to see that, and that's becoming more common nowadays. There's even one of those at my local zoo. My local zoo has a quiet garden and a little outdoor space that is designed for exactly the same thing. And it's awesome. I like it. I'm glad they have it. And I think and hope that we see more and more people who offer that service, who offer that experience, who offer that ability to people, you know? The ability to just, hey, here's a space just to unwind. Yeah, even if you don't need this, it's good for it to be there. And if you would just like to sit for a few seconds and breathe, you can. Because so many spaces just don't have that. You expect it to be on full tilt all the time. And humans just aren't wired that way. You expect it to have to go find either the water closet or go out to your car to recover. Barakata. There was a trash animals meetup. So then. Was there anything else that I went? I think most of the time I'm just looking at the blocks here. I think I was mostly at the Artist Alley for a big chunk of this, in the dealer's rooms. But they had settings and world buildings for writers. They actually had a good chunk of panels for writers to learn about, like either trade techniques or just network, or talk to some higher end writers who are more famous who have advice for you. There was a Rishi Mahjong panel. There was, like, just a whole bunch of things. TikTok furs, meet and greet. Where's some more things that I attended? Where's the things? Rishi Mahjong panel? Where? Yeah, that was a common thing in the tabletop gaming. When you usually go in tabletop gaming, it's usually 90% Magic the Gathering and 10% board games. And here, there was actually a bunch of people playing Rishi Mahjong, and a decent number of D&D tables. Okay, so. There it is. Bite had to leave early. he had to go back and take care of some work stuff, and he left me with the outfit, with the fursuit, with the head and the gloves. Hello, Assassino, welcome. And that's kind of cool, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, they left the outfit with me, so I could try it out, and I did. And I was really impressed how quickly I took to it. I put on the partial fursuit, and I guess I'm going to have a body reveal now because, well, here. This is me. I actually had another picture taken of me, which is kind of why I'm comfortable showing this, is because I had someone else take my picture and post it online. If you hunt for that, you can find it. But here is me wearing these are the purses I was talking about with the that I wasn't allowed in with. Now I need a suit. Honestly, I kind of feel like I might, which is weird. It's a weird feeling to think that. Anyways, I took to it very quickly, mostly because of my actor's training, my actor's background training. Oh, right. One sec. Let me pull up another thing. Anyways, so I put it on. Other than that, I was mostly just wearing my Ren Fair outfit, cape, bodice. Oh, it's a wonderfully comfortable outfit. But when I put on the fursuit, when I put on the head and the paws, it changed the dynamics of... Does it sound pretentious to say it changes the dynamics of who I was? Because that sounds super pretentious. No, that's too pretentious. I can't say that. It's not... No, I can't say it like that. That's far too pretentious to say. But it ain't entirely wrong. Let me push a button here. Actually, I wanted to show off my pins, too, because I got 2 other pins that I adored, and I didn't put a picture of them out here. I didn't cue that up for the... there we are. That's the one I was looking for. Here's a close-up of the pins that I got at the convention. Trans snake and non-binary snake. These are amazing and I love them. They are just absolutely fantastic and I am so glad that I found them. These are my new favorite 2 pins. I love them so much. Anyways, I took to the fursuit very easily. Partially from actor's training, I felt like I was back in my movement for actor stuff, and I started naturally exaggerating my motions, getting into a bit of character, doing more broad gestures, and moving differently. That's really what it boils down to, is moving differently. And it felt good. And the lowered inhibitions kicked in. And I just felt like I could walk up to anybody else in a fursuit and wave and, you know, just bounce on my toes. And, you know, I didn't feel any concern about asking for a hug. I could just, you know, I was accepted immediately. I mean, it would have been accepted anyways, even if I wasn't. But I was immediately accepted. What's everyone's hobby and jobs here? Is anyone combining their furry ideas into it? Oh, that's an interesting question. Well... one of my jobs is as an actor, of course, so I guess I did wear my Ren Fair outfit, which is something that I take great pleasure in. I'm just going to say that. Various thing... yeah. And... it turned into an extraordinarily cozy situation. Where people would look at me and come up to me and I didn't have any... if you didn't see my pin, there was no visual indicator of being assigned male at birth. If I didn't say much or if I was quiet when I talked, there was no auditory indication of gender. It was just, hey, I am just a raccoon. I don't have gender. I just ate a bug. You know, it was a really fun and interesting experience to have, and I liked it. It was good. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize how much you need to drink while you're in a fursuit. I didn't have a handler. Bike left me the outfit when he went home. Well, not home. When he went back to where we were staying. And I didn't have a handler. I didn't have anybody with fursuit experience to back me up. I didn't have anybody with me to help me out. All I had was my background in acting, which helped a ton, and my training. But again, my college classes in that were 2 decades ago. So I was sitting there, and I made a few mistakes. I drank a lot of water, but not nearly enough. I was overheating fairly regularly. And so I went outside. It was like, what was it? I think it was around 4 degrees or so. It was like somewhere, it was, single digits. It was like, 3 or 4 degrees outside. And I would go outside, and that's how I would cool down. I didn't realize how dehydrated I was getting. I woke up on Sunday morning with a hangover. I didn't have anything to drink on Saturday. I didn't have any liquor. But I woke up with a hangover. If you don't know, hangovers are caused by dehydration. And yeah, hangovers are caused by dehydration of the body by alcohol requiring more water to process than it includes. And I woke up and was like, oh, what did I drink? I didn't drink anything. Wait, what the heck? Because when I was overheated, when I was feeling too warm in the suit, my solution was go outside in the winter air, where most of the fursuiters were, to be honest, and just hang out there for a little while. I should drink more water. I didn't really have any other big stumbling blocks in learning to fursuit, because, again, I had the background. But advice that I would give people is be willing to accept the headspace of being in a fursuit. Even if it's just a partial, get your brain-mind thinking about what it's like to be in a partial fursuit. Get your head around the idea. Yeah, go to the head. Yeah, they also had the fursuit lounge, which is a lounge where fursuiters went to take off the heads and get some extra fluids. That is, yeah, something I did make use of a few times. Not as often as I should. My advice to people who are fursuiting from somebody who has done it once. So, the best advice. Drink more fluids than you think you need. If you honestly go to conventions in the winter. If it was in the middle of summer, I don't know how I would have been able to do that. But yeah, go outside and get fresh air. A lot of people had something in their mouths. That sounds weird. That sounds really weird. Okay, let me rephrase that. A lot of people kept something on their person that they could use to prop open the fursuit's mouth. Because the fursuit's mouth is where obviously it's where you breathe out of. But more importantly, that's where you get a lot of your airflow. The eyes and the mouth. And the eyes don't get airflow unless they have somewhere to go. So if you have something the mouth propped open, then you can breathe in and the eyes have a little bit of circular airflow around them. And I saw a lot of people indoors, either with a cell phone or a chew toy, which I initially thought was just for the haha, they're a dog, they have a chew toy. Now I recognize that was a way of keeping the mouth propped open to give them better airflow, in addition to being haha, chew toy. I know that Bite sometimes uses either a foam pirate dagger or a flower to keep their mouth open, propped open a little bit. Something like that is a very good idea if you want to try fursuiting. Something that gives you that little bit of airflow that you don't have to have, that doesn't completely alter your costume. You don't have like a Velcro latch to lock it open. Someone's probably into that. Never mind. If you're into that, go for it, I guess. I don't know. But I'm being weirdly... Wow, never mind. You know what? Let's keep on. Let's move on. Anyways. There are fursuits with fans in the head so they can keep cool. And that was something else I wanted to talk about, is scale. Big fursuits have bigger heads. Smaller fursuits, heads, have work better with people who are either on partial or not. You can't fit a fan into a smaller fursuit head. If I do more fursuiting, I'm going to want a smaller head because I want something that's going to, because I want to be small. You know, I'm Kobold. I want to be able to be small. Fursuits can let you be big. You know, you can add extra padding, you can extra height, you can add a bunch of extra things to be huge. As somebody who wants to be small, that means that I would need to get a different type of head than many others had. But there are fursuit heads with fans in them. But for that to have room for a fan that doesn't, you know, chew up your hair, you need to have a fairly large fursuit head. And if you have a fairly large fursuit head, it's going to look out of place unless you pair it with a fairly large fursuit body. Or unless you're, you know, wide-shouldered yourself. Because the head is going to look like it doesn't belong on your shoulders. Only the partial fursuiters had that as a problem, and I don't think that myself or Byte really had that as an issue. You know, I don't think that this head looks terribly out of place. You know? It looks a little bit bigger than his shoulders, but at the same time, it works. It flows. Some people had much more dire mismatches. And it's not the size of the head that matters. It's the question of the mismatch between the head and the body, you know? If you have a big head, you need to have a big body. If you have a small head, you should have a small body to make the design flow. It's just art design. It's costume design. Jake, oh no. Just put tubes into a bag filled with 10 liters of water and constantly drink from that. Yes, there were a lot of people who had camel packs. I have a camel pack that because I love hiking. It's not actually a camel pack, but I use that as a general term. You know how people say Kleenex as opposed to tissue? Or people will say rollerblades instead of inline skates, because even though it's the brand name and not the general name. Well, yeah, that's how I am with camel pack. Anyways, I have a water backpack, a liquid backpack that I wore for hiking, and that I'm, mostly for when I'm going on long trips. I didn't bring it, I should have, but that's a fantastic idea. I saw somebody else who had one, and it's like, you are smart. They had it hidden. They were one of the people who had a large head and a large frame, and their fursuit was larger than a human would normally be. I don't know what they were under there. They could be anything. But they had the backpack on under their fursuit. And they just pulled out a tube and put it from their collar area and put it into the fursuit's head and had a long drink of water and and then snaked it back out. It's like, oh, that's really smart. That's really clever. I like that. That's nice. Let's see. That's a lot of the fursuit stuff I wanted to mention. But yeah, when I was in the suit, it was very natural, frankly, to walk up to somebody, look at them, and boop their nose, or ask for a hug. Just put up my arms as if asking for a hug. No shame, no pushback, and as long as I'm respecting other people's boundaries and consent, then there was no shame. And I think shame is really the right word for it. There was no shame in having a outfit on and saying, hey, I think you look cute. May I hug you? To somebody who I have never met, never seen, never heard of in my life. That's kind of weird, right? Like, that's not the kind of lifestyle that I've lived in all of my years of life. That's not the kind of experiences that I've had in all of my years of having experiences. Except for once in a while in the early aughts at conventions, but then you still had this stigma where it's like, oh, the people who take it too far, and nobody took anything too far in the areas that I could see. People were very chill and welcoming and accepting. And that's what really made me feel at home. That's what convinced me that I want to do more of this, was that feeling of acceptance and welcoming. I didn't know how welcoming furries were. Now, we've talked about this before. Am I a furry? I don't know. In the past, I would have said, I don't know. Or in the past, I would have said, I'm more of a video game character. I'm a video game character who VTuber. Yeah, no, I had an amazing time and I want to go to it again, and I'm a furry now. I was probably a furry before. Depending on how you define it, I was definitely a furry before. But that was really what pushed me over the edge and say, I want to do this more. I kind of want my own fursuit. I kind of want to do this more often. I kind of want to find ones that are near me that I can just go to. I kind of want to wear my fursuit to the Renaissance Festival nearby. I kind of want to get in this headset, to get in this headspace, get in this brain think where it's okay just to exist, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been allowed to exist in a hot minute. I've been furried, apparently. I mean, yeah, I'm into it. Most of what I'm talking about happened after the other events of the day. That was how I spent most of the evening, was just fursuiting. What did I do? I stood there in a fursuit and I pet a dog. I stood there in a fursuit and I hugged a dragon. I stood there in a fursuit and walked up to a horse and booped their nose. It was a lot of nothing but mingling. That's all. Just a lot of nothing but mingling. Just a lot of existing in the same space as people who were, at that time, in the same mindset that I was in. And that was delightful. Now, let's back up a little notch here. I said that I hosted a panel at my first furry convention. And that's true. I wasn't the only host, I wasn't the organizer, but there was a furry YouTuber meet and greet. Obviously, I had to go to this. I'm a YouTuber. I am the trash furry YouTuber. If, according to my comments section, I am a trash furry VTuber. That's like been in my comments. That's one of the first YouTube comments I ever got, was trash furry VTuber. And you know what? It's just true. It's just true. I can't fight it. What am I gonna do? Say I'm not a trash furry VTuber? Like, no. At this point, there's no going back. The writing was on the wall. I was already called out before I knew it. So. Furry YouTuber meet and greet was... How can I phrase this? It was kind of a catastrophe, but also a delight. It fell into the same problem that the content creator meet and greet had, where they had somebody, no, they weren't terribly famous. They had 5K subs, which, you know what, I respect, but they had 5K subs over the course of like 8 years, they said, and I was sitting there going, seems kind of low. That seems like a kind of a low growth, but, you know, I mean, you're having a good time, and they're really cool dude, and it was fun talking with them, but, But there wasn't any giant names, you know? We didn't have Pack Tactics there. I kind of wish we did. Pack Tactics is a cool dude. Talked with him many times. We didn't have, you know, Chester the Otter. We didn't have the Whiskey Dingo. We didn't have any of the big names there. But it just sort of came out this thing. It's like, we're like, you know, well, we can, you know, answer some questions about stuff first, if you guys have any questions for us. And they pulled up a couple of people who were, you know, who felt like they could answer questions. And I kind of was ready to go up and like, I guess maybe? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go up on stage. No. It's my first convention. I don't know these people. I don't even know if I'm allowed to call myself part of this community. I don't know if that's okay. You know, I'm just going to sit here. But it was a lot more open. It wasn't Whiskey Dingo answering questions. It was, hey, does anybody have any thoughts about this? Or, hey, how do you... You know, what's some good ways to promote your videos? Hey, XYZ. And I found myself continually standing up and answering questions. Like, somebody would ask about, you know, like, microphones, and I would stand up and answer. Like, oh, well, you know, like, someone up on the front would ask. Somebody would ask a question about how to make their... face rig. How to make face rig run better. And I stood up and was like, don't use FaceRig. It's not a great piece of software. If you're having a 3D model, use VC Face. If you have a 2D model, use VTube Studio. But to answer your question, if you're having poor tracking with your webcam on top of your monitor, put it below the monitor. Below the monitor is going to get a better view of your face, and it's going to give you better tracking. And that was the point where it's like, I'm answering these questions. You know what? Heck it. And I just kind of stood up and walked up to on stage. Someone else, Benji the Beagle, I think it was. Yeah, stood up and had to leave. They had another meeting, so I just kind of stood up and walked up onto the stage. And I'm like, okay, I'm here now. And for the rest of the stage, I was one of the first people to answer questions because I know things. I occasionally know things, and my insight was proving valuable to people, and others were thankful that I was there and answering questions. I guess, maybe, possibly, I don't know. You in Pack Tactics Discord? They're a fun person to talk to. Absolutely, yeah. I've known Pack for a couple months now, and yeah, they're just a great bean. It would be hilarious if Den of Drake and others came to FurryCon in full costume with signs like "I'm not a furry." So yeah, I ended up being up there, and people would actually say, "I have a question for Jade," and I was like, "Oh, okay, hi," and like. It became a thing, and I had a great time with it, and a lot of people got valuable information, more valuable in my opinion than the content creators meetup, because this was more targeted, right? Content creators meetup had streamers. It also had artists. Content creator meetup had voice actors, but it also had just fursuiters, people who make the fursuits. The content creator meetup had anybody who has made a thing. This was YouTubers. So that by having a more targeted audience, when people are asking questions, answers are going to resonate with people more directly. More people in the room are going to receive the answers effectively than you would have if it was a broad scope. So yeah, I stayed up there. I met some wonderful people, some of who showed up in this stream, actually. Shout outs to all the wonderful people I met there. And yeah, I gave good advice. I got good advice. I made some contacts, and it still didn't turn into a proper meet and greet. It still didn't turn into networking. A bunch of us stayed after and did network because, well, we wanted to meet people, and that was the whole goal of why we were there. So we did, and we talked to people, and we made those connections, and I will probably be collabing with some of them in the future, but it still wasn't the general meet and greet. It still had that problem of becoming a panel, when it was supposed to be just a meetup. It was supposed to be just a networking event. I don't know how to fix that. I really don't. Because I will bet you anything that there are people there who just wanted to meet other YouTubers and just make those connections, who ended up getting, effectively just being at a Q&A panel for 90 minutes. The only way to fix that is to not allow people to ask questions or just not have mics set up, just don't have a mic set up at all, like there were in some of the species meetup rooms. They were in the Dragons meet and greet, or yeah, in the Dragons meetup. I don't know, but it's an interesting thought process to have for somebody who organizes conventions. So for a con organizer like myself, that was a very interesting hiccup that I don't really know how to fix, because enough people wanted it that nobody really complained and said, well, I just wanted to meet people. But the people who wanted to meet people on a one-on-one basis probably weren't comfortable staying that in front of a big group of people who were sitting there answering, asking questions of the people on who were mic'd up in the front of the stage. I don't know. But another interesting thing happened then. I didn't even think about it at the time. But after after that happened, we had a few people take pictures. Oh, I also had the best thing in my entire YouTubing career happen. Somebody looked at me in person, their jaw dropped until they said, "Oh my god, you're Jade the Kobold?" I felt so proud. I genuinely got recognized by somebody who enjoys watching, like, IRL, and they were like, the shock and awe, like they had actually met like a hero or something, was just warmed my heart. The fact that somebody saw me and knew me and was excited to see me, was excited to meet me, made my heart soar. It really did. That's why it felt good. It felt phenomenal. It's something to be happy about. It's something to be overjoyed about. And Yeah, that was cool. But somebody took a picture of all the people on the panel, which is I didn't even think about at the time. And then they posted that picture to Twitter and added me. If you want to find it, you can, but I'm not going to show it here. But actually, it caused an interesting break in my brain. Hold on 1 second. I need a bit more water, and I'll talk about this. Arrgh. I return triumphantly. You did the panel with Rev? Yeah, it was... Oh yeah, well, the person also said if I asked if I recognized them, and because they left some comments on my videos, but I'm terrible with names. I'm horrible with names, and... Yo, if you're watching this, shout yourself out, because I'm so sorry that I didn't recognize you, because I just didn't recognize... You know, I'm just terrible with names. Horrible at them. But yeah, it was me, who exactly... you know, I have a thing somewhere. Thing? A thing. I don't know. What is it? But yeah. Names do be hard. It just true. Alright, give me one brief tick here and I can shout out everybody who was on the panel. It was Shade Zed who showed up here earlier, Spiky McFox, RL Furry Videos, and there's somebody else there who's not tagged. Anyways, I want to talk about Kifabe. Cheers, Eric. I want to talk about Kifabe because it is a very difficult concept to explain effectively. Kifabe is a Japanese word that we don't really have an English word for, that involves staying in character when not on set. Now, you might just say, oh, that's just method acting. Yeah, or staying in character when the camera's not on you. That's just method acting. Okay, sure, whatever. No, that's not the same. Kifabe refers to showing off and staying in a character in case somebody sees you. The classic example is wrestling. If you are in in wrestling and you are in the back rooms, in the locker room, you might still be, oh, I'm going to smash that guy's face, and you're still going to be in character. You're still going to be talking in character. You're still going to be acting and improving as if you had a camera on you, because, well, guess what? You might. There might be a camera on you. You might have stuff pulled in for B-roll. You might have actually a live feed on you at some points. You have to stay in character the entire time you're there. Another example is at a Ren Fair. At a Renaissance Fair, if you have to stay in character when somebody pulls out a cell phone and asks for a picture, you know, you have this moment of, oh, what is this quaint little thing? Or, oh, Willie, what do we have here? You have to stay in that character. Disney, you aren't allowed to break character until you are in the tunnels. You are not allowed to break character until you are actually in the tunnels themselves, out where no guest can possibly see you. Idols in Japan are the classic example that I want to bring up, because if you're an idol in Japan, you have to present as, usually as this innocent individual who has never even heard of a butt before. Like, you have to present as this pure individual. And you have to, if you have a, like a partner, or if you have a hobby that's not something that your character is supposed to have, like, I think that one of the idols, like in Japan plays, I want to say, I forget what it was, but they were playing a game. Cheers, Spectre. You have a good one. They were playing a game, and they got in trouble because their character isn't supposed to play Counter-Strike. I want to say it was Counter-Strike. And they got in trouble with their agency for playing Counter-Strike because some of their audience found out about it. And that broke the image that the audience had of that character. Now, especially with idol stuff, it gets very toxic. Like, not being able to have a partner that the public knows about. You even, like, and while still trying to live as a 20-something idol, individual. It's like, no, that sucks. But other times it makes perfect sense, like in Disney, where you can't, sigh and droop your shoulders if you're in a Mickey Mouse costume. The mouse must be bright and cheerful at all times. You must never break that kifabe until you are offset, until you are completely off. It's method acting +1, it's not, yeah. And I had this moment of panic because having my picture taken and put on Twitter with my name as an @ breaks kifabe for you guys. I mean, as far as you guys are concerned, I'm a strange internet lizard, right? And for a little while, I was almost wondering if I should ask them to take it down. I was wondering, it's like, do I need to, like, say, hey, I don't want this public, because my brain mind was processing this of, wait, no, this is our IRL data. This is actual real life information. What if people think of me differently? What if that's a bad thing? What if somebody who wants to keep the fantasy of me being a kobold who doesn't live in this world is broken, and they are less interested in me and the channel because of it? And this is a brainworm. This is not a real thing. But honestly, I speak a lot about my IRL stuff pretty frequently in the Discord, at least, and frequently enough on stream, at least in terms of my background and my history. But my acting brain still went, wait, is this a face reveal? I'm still wearing a mask, but it's the same kind of thing. My brain still went, wait, is this something that I shouldn't allow to be public? Is this something that my audience will reject? I don't think that you guys will. I don't think you guys care. And if you guys want to look it up, you can. After sleeping on it, I sort of came to the decision, it's like, no, I share enough of my IRL with people that I don't think it's going to change the dynamic between me and my audience. If anything, it might help it. But, as far as meeting people at conventions and whatnot, now that I apparently am a person who goes to conventions, and apparently I'm a person who goes to furry conventions, because what is my life? Tuzzy, you would never reject me? Like, thank you, Tezzy. And I know you wouldn't, but it wouldn't be out of scope of somebody to meet, like, Alpharad and find him, when he's not in front of a camera just eating a burger and be like, what's up? It's calm and subdued and be like, oh, they're different than I expected IRL. Or, like, to meet someone like any of the big actors, Yeah, you can meet people like, Keanu Reeves, who are actually really nice IRL, but you can also meet people like Screech, who is a complete dick IRL. Sorry for any Saved by the Bell fans out there. Turns out Screech is kind of a jerk. I met him at a Benihana's once. Sat next to him. Not terribly pleasant in person. Anyways, but like, yeah, there was this brain think in my mind, like, is this going to change my audience dynamic in a way that is not positive? It was a fear. It was a fear that I had IRL. And he Screeches IRL? No, he I'll talk about this on the Discord afterwards. I'm not going to spill this tea on camera right here. No, I'm not going into that right now. I wouldn't get drinks with him. Anyways. Yeah. So that happened. And that was an interesting experience in my own brain mind about being a content creator and what that has to mean for me going forward. Because I cover IRL things once in a while. I covered... Furality wasn't an IRL thing, but I covered it as a convention. I cover CES every year, the Consumer Electronics Show, and I'm going to cover that next month. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. Look forward to it. I cover convention work. I cover my actual jobs on movie sets and on stage productions. Now, I don't usually go into detail because I don't want to be doxxed, but at the same time, I do talk about it. I talk about a lot of things. Oh yes, it's the beginning of January, Sapphire. It's almost here. I need to order my plane tickets like tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Please remind me to do that tomorrow. Someone. Anyways, but yeah. So it was an interesting moment, both being approached by someone who has never met me, who liked me. I mean, it sounds weird to say that, right? But by being approached by somebody who hasn't met me, who saw my content and was like, whoa, that was the best feeling. And being this moment of like, wait, my audience might see who I am. And then having to emotionally process that. Because that's really what it boils down to, is I had to emotionally process that before I could come to terms with it. Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm... Oops. Which is why I'm comfortable showing you all this. Because that's why I feel... Because I processed that, is why I feel comfortable showing you a picture of my body on stream now. If you don't like it, dislike the video. No, really. I would rather people dislike the video than not engage with it. If you are watching this video, do something. Leave a comment. Leave a message, like the video, or dislike it. If you don't like this, dislike the video. That's fine. Head pats? I love head pats. Please. No, I wouldn't go that far. Anyways. But yeah, that was a thing that I felt like I overcame in that moment. Because you can even ask my mods on Discord. I was like, oh no, I had a face reveal. Oh no. Oh no. Before later on, changing my opinion into, don't look for this on Twitter, I don't feel comfortable with it, to, oh, just so you know, if you might go onto Twitter, you might see my beautiful costume that highlights my massive rack. So I'm so sorry that you might see that. Just be aware that you might accidentally see it if you go on Twitter, okay? I'm sorry. It's strange to feel comfortable with my body. I feel strange about being comfortable in my body. It's a new thing. It's a new experience, and I'm loving it. Okay, anyways. Moving on. Moving exactly on for that. Moving entirely on from that. Yeah. For a YouTuber, meet and greet was a delight. That's the long story short of that. And the other thing, the thing that I didn't go to at any point was game shows. There were a lot of game shows. They all had furry twists in the names, like Whose Lion Is It Anyway? Or Leopard, Leopardy, spelled as in Jeopardy, but leopard. It's cute. I get it. It's wonderful. But they had a bunch of game shows as well, and I think they were probably amazing. I didn't go to any of them, but I like that happened. I think that's cool, and that's something that conventions have been shying away from in recent years. And by recent years, I'm going back a decade, because I'm old and deal with that. But, yeah, like the video or something. I don't know. Sorry, I just need to think. I just need to say. Anyways. that used to be a lot bigger. Especially in the anime communities and anime conventions, you would have these anime trivia events, or Iron Chef, where you make anime music videos live on live head to head against somebody else who's also making a music video, and then both are judged afterwards, or like any number of other things, anime themed events at these places that used to be common. And lately, it seems like that's been going away. And I don't really know why, because I feel like those are fantastic engagement points. Those are fantastic moments where people who are not actually a part of the industry get to be on stage, get to be, get to show off something they're passionate about, get to do their, Star Trek trivia contest. I don't really watch Star Trek. I've never been a Trekkie, but I keep on, whenever I think of other conventions, my brain always goes to sci-fi and Star Trek conventions, because media, when that's the kind that I saw most commonly portrayed on TV. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, just processing that. Yeah, learn how to dance panel. Yeah, like more group things that and with like this gamey style stuff. And I haven't seen that in anime conventions as much in the past couple years. Anime Central actually effectively told me that I had to cut the AMV contest, not just the AMV's room, but the AMV contest effectively got downsized. And I mean, I have my very strong opinions on that. Ask me for those. But it was very neat to see how many of these existed at this convention here. Whose Line Is It Anyway? Leopardy, Awocast, where's the other? There was a bunch. And I think that's pretty cool. Basically, I thought it was neat. Fursuit Price is Right. I mean, imagine that. It was Price is Right, where you have to guess the prices of a fursuit. And then you can win. You actually win the fursuit at the end. So these were donated. I think. I don't know. I didn't go to it, but I believe that's how it played out. But fursuits can be insanely expensive. Absurdly expensive. And trying to do a Price is Right style thing with that? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I love it. I just love that it exists. You know what I mean? I don't know. They actually did have a public medical section, which I was surprised by because it was in America. But you could get medical assistance, you could get support, and you could also get free testing for COVID, STI, HIV, and other stuff, where if you have an encounter, you could actually go and be tested next day free of charge, which I was shocked to see. I didn't think that happened anywhere in the States. But yeah, they just straight up had a little medical center, and I bet you that if somebody went in there and said, hey, I don't have insurance, can I get a checkup? You might have been able to get that. Like, public gatherings have a first aid station. This was a lot more in-depth than that. This was not a come here if you have a medical emergency. This was a come by for medical advice and medical understanding. Like this felt like it was not just a first aid station, is what I'm saying, And I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was cool. Can't afford to buy them. Will the furry naming of everything ever go from furry ever go away? If I ever make anything furry related, I probably want to have an original name rather than Furbic instead of Fabric. Fair, yeah, that's a fair point. I'm just Jade the Kobold. I mean, if you search for Google on Jade the Kobold, it's dominated by me. I am the search result, but I didn't feel the need to do anything else. Like that's kind of why I like my name, I guess. But yeah, Jade is a common name. Kobold is a common creature. Jade the Kobold, me, get every single time. But I'm purple. Yeah, I'm purplish blue. Wait, what? Anyways. They had a Sonic OC panel that was explicitly titled Sonic OC Panel Do Not Steal, which is just hilarious to me. Google your name space the hedgehog and tell me what comes up. Tell me about it. Do it. Do it. They also had Kimono, which is, I guess, what I am. Kimono is the anime style furry, and I am anime. I am a I am an anime. I am a video game character. That's kind of my bag here, you know. And apparently that's called kimono when you have the more Japanese style fursuit / Japanese style art style. I like it. I'm into it. It looks awesome. I'm a huge fan of this thing. Jade, I am anime the Kobold. I mean, it's true though. Like, I am the queen of all anime. I literally was in charge of all the anime at one of the largest anime conventions in North America for 20 odd years. I kind of have to accept that, right? I kind of have to admit that. I have cursed you with forbidden knowledge. Oh, Jade the J-Will. Oh, I got you. Nah, I don't know. I don't think those are necessary. I think they can be fun, but they shouldn't feel forced, you know? You love the kimono fursuits? I do too. Those are some of my favorite designs. But the kimono style eyes, the big anime, the fursuits that actually have anime eyes, which is a thing, the eyes don't breathe. You're taking away your only 2 air vents out of the eyes. I don't know how you overcome that. I really don't know how you overcome that in terms of, like, surviving inside of it. But people were wearing them. I saw Sherbert, who I've met Sherbert at Morality. They were very cool. They were like Spectre. I saw them and waved to them, but they didn't see me or recognize me or whatever. So whatever. I just kind of let it pass. But the eyes don't breathe, and I don't know how that changes the dynamics of the thing. Anyways, hi. Sunday at a convention is always a wind down. It's always quieter and calmer, and people start leaving around like noon or something, and by 4 o'clock you're literally striking the set. You're literally striking out all the stuff that's in there. We ended up not going on Sunday. I didn't go at all. But yeah, they had a memorial for lost friends and family. They had photography meetups. They had an anime panel. I didn't really, they had a medieval and Renaissance demo, but it was SCA, so it's fine. It's fine. I have opinions about SCA. As somebody who has done stage combat for somebody who was certified for stage combat in 2 different countries, I have some opinions about the SCA and their claims of realism. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I experienced. I will be delighted to answer questions for as long as people have them, for an extra few minutes. So, they don't breathe because the kimono heads have plastic domes to make their eyes look shiny. Exactly, yeah. The kimono eyes are big anime eyes, and they look great. They really look adorable. But because they have this plastic in front of them to give them the anime sparkle, which looks phenomenal in my opinion, they don't breathe. They don't have vents in them, and that's usually one of the best vents on the entire fursuit. But yeah, feel free to drop any Q&A in chat. And again, if you're not watching this live, you can always drop Q&A in the comments. I do read to every comment. I respond to virtually every comment. I don't respond to every single comment because sometimes people comment something that doesn't provoke a response. If you leave a comment that says, I like cats, I don't know if I'm going to respond to that. Like, I don't know how to, like, I don't know. Anyways, feel free to AMA, is what I'm saying. There are small corners in the dome so they don't fog up. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I would have figured that the entire dome... I like dragons. Yay. I would have figured that the, things. Water. I would have figured that the eyes were entirely sealed so they didn't fog up. That way you can just have a vacuum or have nothing in the middle and they won't fog up. But if that's true, I guess they have some ventilation? I have no idea. Are kobolds hatched from rock eggs? The kobold eggs are very hard like rocks, so I'm gonna say ish. What convinced me to go to a furry con? Bite. Bite invited me along to go, and Bite's a cool person who I like, so, you know, I went with him. You can tell you did research on fursuits. I mean, that's awesome, right? That's a cool thing to do research on, absolutely, by every mean. The biggest takeaway that I had, aside from the incredible idea of having the approachability badge stuff, really was the different headspace that I got into while at the con. Again, ask questions in chat if you have any. Otherwise, you don't have to have any. I guess you don't have to have a question. But it'd be, you know, whatever. There were a lot of transgender people there. Like, it was very accepted. Oh, what was my favorite suit that I saw there? That's a fun question. I was on the lookout for kobolds or for dragons that I thought looked good, because most of the dragon-style suits I don't love. I don't want the suit to be plastic or vinyl or leather. You know, I want it to be soft and pettable, maybe like even a velvet or something. So I kept on looking for dragon suits that I liked, and I didn't see a whole lot. As far as my favorite suit that I saw there was one in the artist... Actually, like, I have a picture of that I can pull up. There was one that I saw in the artist... no, it was actually in the dealer's room, rather. That really looked fantastic. One sec, let me find... Heck, where do we finding? It was by a Salty Bunny. A Salty Bunny? A Salty Bunny is the name of the individual. And their style of fursuiting was really soft. What they did, apparently, is they use nice quality fake fur. Draco Gamer, go to sleep. You're a wonderful being, and I hope that you have a wonderful train ride. But go to bed. Like the video, then go to bed. Sorry. Look. We need to talk about it. Hold on. I thought I had this pulled up. I thought I had a picture. Okay, I have a picture here. Just give me one moment to import it into OBS. So, look at these prices. I mean, this is the one that caught my eye. Because it is soft without being overwhelmingly furry and having a long hair on it. I thought that this particular fursuit was my favorite one that I saw. And on the other side, they have another one much like it that I thought was just incredibly well made. I mean, obviously, for 2,800 American dollars, it better be. But those were the two that I saw that I was like, oh my goodness, I am floored. I cannot believe the quality behind this. This is the individual who made it, a salty bunny. And if I do have a fursuit made, that's probably who I'm going to have it made through, because wow, I was shocked and impressed by it. You like the video first? Oh, I appreciate. And hello, Alan Hamilton. Welcome. Yeah, that's a few months worth of rent. Yeah, that's yeah, that's a couple mortgage payments. That's a thing. Were there any Vaporeon heads, or did Nintendo come after them? There were a couple of Pokemon, but not as many as I expected. There was a lot of Pokemon merchandise. There was a lot of Pokemon artwork and merchandise in the dealer's room. But there wasn't a ton of Pokemon fursuits that I saw. I did see one Vaporeon, but not like, you know, someone who I went up and talked to. It was just someone like, like, oh hey, there's one. And a lot of them were, well, what else was there? There was one or two more. I think there were like a couple of them. Less than I expected. Must have been hard to find that. But yeah, as far as the question of, you know, what the best fursuit I saw, it's going to be one of these two. These two are incredibly well built. I was absolutely floored. See here. Would I consider getting my own fursuit? Absolutely. Absolutely. I am shocked to hear myself say this, but yeah, I not only would like one, but I am actively considering the process of commissioning one. Because I don't know how to make a Kobold fursuit that would fit me, right? I wouldn't want the like I said, the leather or the vinyl or something that's not pettable. But at the same time, I don't know how else to really portray my character. And you'll see my new model in a week and a half. This is my new model, and I have a 3D model that I'm going along with it that's going to be debuting on the 19th. And I don't know how to make that. I don't know how anybody could make that into a fursuit. I mean, I would have to trust them. I would have to see them, go out to them and be like, hey, can you do this thing? That's the other thing is there. Would I get a partial or a full? I would get a partial and wear it as if it were a full. I would get a partial and I would wear... Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. I would get a partial, and then I would wear either my Ren Fair outfit or some other outfit that I have with it, because I don't want to be larger, right? Full fursuits... Prove me wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong about this. Made from mushroom leather, cactus leather, or pineapple leather? Are you putting me... Are you putting me on here? Are you taking the piss or not? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. I will have to look that up. I'm going. You know what? No, it's chat. You're in chat. Never lies to me. No. Okay, you must be serious. Okay, I will look that up later after stream and find out exactly what those are. I will absolutely look that up. But yeah, I would want to be small. I wouldn't want a fursuit that bulked me up, that made me bigger, that made me poofier, because I would want to be the tiny kobold. So I would want a fairly form-fitting fursuit. I'm going to say that again 3 times fast after I have some water. Fairly form-fitting fursuit, fairly form-fitting fursuit, fairly form-fitting fursuit. That's fun. You should try that. Am I going to watch the game show? I didn't watch any of the shows while I was there. If somebody linked me one of the shows, I would probably watch it to see what it was like, but I have no idea. Well, I mean, I have an idea, but I don't know what they were like. I didn't experience that. Let's see here. But yeah, I would consider getting a fursuit, surprisingly. I genuinely would. And I also made a new character this past week. just a version of me as a hyena, because I think that's another cool race. Another cool species, if you will. And I think that would be a lot easier to get a fursuit for, you know? Because if I wanted a Jade the Kobold fursuit, I would want it to be amazing quality. I would want to make it, you know, perfect. I would want to use it to promote myself. I would want to do stuff on it, with it on the channel maybe even. I don't know. But I would fall into my normal perfectionist trap, right? I would become a perfectionist and get something that was, you know, optimal. I tend to over-optimize and over-coordinate? I don't know. I tend to over-focus on things to try to make things as ideal as possible. My streams have very little scuff compared to other streamers. You guys know this. If you've been following me for some time, you know that my streams are fairly clean. Sometimes my streams are cleaner than like Niji Sanji or Hololive streams. And like, you know, when I came down to buy a mic, it's like, you know what? What if I buy a Shure SM7B and a... what if I just literally get a proper voice acting microphone, buy it, a professional one? What if my computer is perfect for this? What if I actually, you know, like, I tend to go overboard. I go overboard. When I get into something, I get into it pretty heavily. Look at me with VTubing. Next week is my first vacation from VTubing in 2 years. I'm a healthy person who makes good life choices is basically what I'm coming down to. Next week is going to be my first break in content in 2 years. Quite literally, it's Friday's D&D, Saturday is Pokemon, and then I'm off until Monday the 19th. With the possible exception, I might stream on Monday just to do Spirit Island, but the plan is that this is actually going to be, you know, this is actually going to be my first vacation from streaming. Actually, it's my first vacation from work in a couple of years, too. As far as I might have a bit of more time compared to agency VTubers, I hard disagree with that. Most agency VTubers get to do that as a full-time job. And therefore, I don't have nearly as much time because I have a job. I have just straight up have a job. You know, you guys know this. You guys are aware of this. At least you're conscious of this. But, yeah. Have I tried kava food? What is kava? Greek? I mean, I guess the short answer is no. Unless you're just talking about Greek food, in which case, yes. But I have not been to kava, which Google tells me is a restaurant. Searching kava food tells me it's a restaurant. If you're talking about something else, then no. I may want to scratch cactus leather from your choice material since it does contain plastic. Well, the big thing for me is breathability, you know? I want to not die in it. I want to not perish because I'm wearing a fursuit. Also, you've been looking at it the whole time, but this is the latest piece of artwork from Dragon Last Dream. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think it's the only piece of artwork that I haven't shown off. No, I didn't show off the entrance yet. I'll save the entrance for the 19th. But this is my home. This is my home. I am hiding so you can see my home. This is again Dragon Last Dream on Instagram. Incredible artist. She's done all of my backgrounds for the channel. All of the comfy cave backgrounds, the waterfalls, my default locale. All of them have been made by that individual, and she does an amazing work. Shoutouts to her always and forever. I will always compliment her for doing incredible stuff. And again, yeah, I use full painted artwork for my background as opposed to, you know, some primary color overlay like a lot of VTubers. I kind of go hard on things. Eat a lot and have a person who helps you with drinking. Yeah, I would like to have a hand. I wish Bite was there. I wish Bite was there on Saturday or somebody else who I knew, because I didn't really know anybody at the convention. That was the other weird thing, is just not knowing anybody. And then the two people who I did know, Sherbert and Spectre, I didn't really have the opportunity to see and talk to because, well, they didn't see me and I was kind of, you know, yeah, I was fine with that. I just kind of went along. But I met so many good people. A lot of the meetings were superficial, as in I met them, hugged them, booped their nose. We talked for 5-10 minutes, and I didn't really have a means of contacting them afterward. Like, I didn't actually get their account stuff. Also, I should probably get Telegram. I've been told that I need to get Telegram. With Twitter dying, I might need to do that. Right now, I've been mostly using Tumblr as my backup social media site. Because I know people on there, so I've already connected with some people. But people keep on... I don't know how to use Telegram. If someone wants to teach me Telegram, please hit me up. I don't know how to use Telegram. Anyways. It must take a lot of time to make that area. Yeah, all of the paintings that she's done are incredibly, incredibly detailed and absolutely stunning. And this is probably my favorite of all of them. Like, the first one is great because it has that, you know, nostalgia for it being my first big room. You know, my first big advancement to the channel. But this one here feels the coziest. This one is a really good representation of the comfy cave. Of just being a place where I can exist and, you know, be cozy and... Warning about Telegram, make sure your phone number is hidden. Oh, geez. Wow, okay. That's a good heads up. Alright, I think we're probably going to wrap up here unless anybody has any more questions. But I had a great time. I had a much better time than I expected I was going to have. Not that I expected to have a bad time. I just got a much better... Finish a sketch? Oh. Grats. I know Telegram, you can message me on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook account. I've never had a Facebook account. Discord is the best way to get a hold of me. Discord is how to communicate with me. That's my primary method of communication. I'm on the Discord server constantly. Will I ever plan on going over memes? I've done a few meme reviews in the past, and I want to do more in the future. So probably, almost certainly. Or do a YLYL. Oh, you laugh, you lose, right? But I would play to lose. I would play to lose. Can I send it to you? If you're talking about the Discord information, it's in the channel. It's in the description of the video. Just scroll down. Yeah, there's a link to the Discord channel just in the video description. Couldn't be easier. And would be a good excuse for donos for submitting funniest laugh. That's a good idea. I like the way you think. Oh, you sent it to me. Oh, hold on. Let me pull up. Aww. Okay, one sec. Let me get that on the thing. A thing. And again, if there's any last questions, feel free to toss them into the chat or into the video thing. And here's a sketch I just got from the Delighted Frosted Scales. It's adorable and I love it. Aw, thank you so much. It's amazing. Gosh, I love my art folder. My art folder brings me so much joy and happiness. It's so good. It really is a beautiful sketch. Thank you so much. And I think we'll end on that. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this has been interesting. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Is this the kind of thing that you would like to see more of? I mean, my bread and butter should still be playing story-based games. That's kind of, what I do here. But, I will probably... The next time I go to one of these, because I probably will because I've had such a good time, send it to you on Yahoo. Like Yahoo Messenger? What? I mean, I have AOL Instant Messenger. That I did. That died a long time ago. Anyways, I want to thank you all for being wonderful. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you again real soon. Tomorrow will be Dungeons and Dragons. The day after that will be more Pokemon, and then I go away for a week. And then when I come back, I will have a new look. Wait, that's not it. So look forward to it. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Cheers, friends.